welcome to the Latina Leaders Podcast, where we celebrate, empower, and uplift Hispanic and BIPOC women. Guests on the show include women making an impact in their communities and redefining leadership. I'm your host, Jennifer Cortez, founder of Latina Leaders, creative entrepreneur, and a passionate advocate for la comunidad. Today's guest is Salvadoran-born and raised, working in the two most important F's, I feel, fashion and finance, has a background in fashion design, and also working in finance with a focus on CRM. You will find her volunteering at youth events, through her church, and connecting at networking events across the country. She also runs her own online shop full of health, beauty, and home essentials. This is a mini mercado, a feel-good must-haves. She has strong faith, and she is inspired by learning from powerful voices across industries and always brings that wisdom back to her communities. I want to welcome Jency Martinez.
Yay. Thank you so much, Jennifer. That was so good.
Hi, Jency. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm great. And so I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much, Jency, for coming onto the show. And I just want to point out that Jency is not Canadian. She is in the US. And that is fine. And we met because of a Latina Leaders online meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. And I still think about that meeting, because it was just so impactful. Like I needed that day for sure. And so thank you so much for putting this platform together and starting this podcast. I'm so excited to be here and yay.
Thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. And the fact that you're here is just a big indication that we are connecting globally, right? And we're inspiring each other somehow. And you have inspired me. So that's why you're a guest on this show.
Thank you. Oh, wow. Thank you so much for saying that.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about you. So you're currently in the US. Where are you exactly?
Yes. So I am in the East Coast. I'm in Pennsylvania.
So you were born in El Salvador?
Yes, born in San Salvador, El Salvador, and I moved here when I was 11 years old, and we moved straight to Pennsylvania.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So can you talk a little bit about how that transition was for you growing up? Almost a teenager, like preteen?
Yeah, preteen. I always knew we were going to move to the U.S. And I know today I don't have a lot of time to get into depth as to my story and everything, because the reason why I came here started way before my mom was born. Just a lot of my relatives coming over to the U.S. for better opportunities, and a lot of stuff happened. But by the time, my mom was born, her dad was already here, and his mom just works really hard to bring all the, nietos and everyone over for better opportunity. The country wasn't, moving in a good direction then. And so then my whole entire life, my parents were like, aprende inglés, get good grades, all these things. And I was like, I'll cross that bridge when I get there, and so we moved here, and it was definitely a culture shock, because when I first moved to PA, there wasn't, that many of us here in PA. I remember having like 2, maybe 3 other classmates that spoke Spanish, but they didn't feel comfortable speaking in Spanish, to me. And so I had to learn the language. I was like, my parents were right. I should have learned the language. But that also kind of pushed me to, okay, like I came here, I have dreams, and I'm going to make them happen. And I know it's going to be hard, but I'm willing to, take a bunch of L's and just make things happen because, and I think it was like the first time that I went back to El Salvador that, my cousins were like, okay, like, let's go here, let's go over there. Can you give us your, like your clothes? And I'm like, this is all I have, like I can't be giving stuff away. And, but I was like, I don't want to be that person that's like low on resources. I want to be able to give more. And going back to our country after 5 years of living here, it was just like, no, I got to go to the US for a reason, and I'm not going to waste that opportunity. So that was kind of, like me coming into the US and just knowing like, it was going to be hard, but it's doable.
And you found
Mhm.
your way because you have a
Yeah.
fashion design background. That's something that you and I connected
Yeah.
with, our love for fashion, and now
Yes.
finance. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about the fashion design and then going into finance.
Yeah, okay. So, the fashion, again, that was my lifelong dream. My abuelita growing up, I called her abuela. She would make clothes for us, for all my girl cousins, and I just really loved the whole process. She would call us in, like, got like come over, like I got this new tela, like, let me make something for you, or like you have an event coming up. And I just fell in love,
Of course.
how she did things, and I was like, I want to do this for a living, and I love designing. And so again, coming to the US and just not knowing, the language, and that was my fault. But I remember having sewing class, and I was like, I don't know what the teacher is saying, but I'm just gonna watch her and I'm gonna copy everything she's saying. So I learned how to sew. And then when I got into high school, I started looking into colleges, and I was like, New York has been my dream forever. But that was really, really expensive. So I found this school in Los Angeles, and they basically were giving out scholarships for anybody that started their own fashion club in high
Mhm.
school. So prior to that, I was like in la esquina. I didn't like talking to people. I would go to the library for lunch, and I was like, all right, I have to start a club now. So I have to
So
talk to
now you
people
have to
now.
start.
Yeah. So I started that, and made some new friends. So I got that scholarship, and
Oh,
moved
that's
across the
amazing.
states. Yep. And I made it to LA, and being in LA was different because I have a lot of relatives over there, and lots of Latinos,
Oh,
and
yeah.
like there's billboards in Spanish for everybody, and I just felt so at home.
Mhm.
And every day was just like I would wake up with a smile on my face. I was like, yay, like I'm making my dreams happen. This is what I came here for.
Mhm.
I graduated, began to get my feet, wet in the industry. And I remember, professors telling us, you got to network, you got to meet people. It's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And so I'd get, when my classmates started working different companies, we'd get invited. I actually met one of my good friends, Jessica Cortez. She was an alumni from the school I went to, FITM, and she started her own clothing line. And she's done a lot more than just clothes now. I think she's got her own nail polish, and I began working for her. And she took me under her wing and taught me a lot of things, and I learned about her story as well. And every day I was just like getting so much inspo about people, and Latinos, and I owe a lot of that to Jess. She introduced me to a lot of people, and I was like, all right,
Wow.
well, time to write my story. And so I was doing a lot of that. And then, of course, like, in 2020, a lot of things shut down. I lost, the job I had back then. And I was actually looking into going back to school. By then I had graduated fashion school and everything. And so 2020, I was looking into going back to college and get a bachelor's in business management, because I knew that being a business owner was where it's at, basically. And so
Mhm.
I was making plans to come back to PA and go to school, here and do that. Everything shut down. And so, I had nothing going on in LA. No one was hiring. So I ended up moving back home, and I was just investigating, like, what can I do? Do I really want to go back to school? I started doing a lot of self-development and just learning things on my own, pretty much.
Mhm.
And I started looking for a job here because I wasn't sure how long I'd be here. And that's how I landed the job that I currently have with this amazing company. I'm so blessed. Today's Admin's Day. And so we celebrated that. And it's just like, it was just a reminder that I work for some really awesome people, and they're really grateful for, everyone's work habit, which it's not, I don't know, before working for this company, I hadn't really seen that, especially in like fast-paced
Mhm.
environments. And so I landed this job. I remember being at my interview and just being like, I don't know a lot about finance. I'm going to be honest with you, but I'm
Mhm.
willing to. And again, my manager took me under her wing. The owner took me under his wing, and I've been there for almost 4 years now. And every year has been awesome, and I continue to learn and just realize the importance of learning about money.
Of course.
It's never too late to learn about money. It's really, really, really important to know how to manage your money.
Wow. First of all, I have to
Yeah.
say that your story is all about adaptability, your background from what you told me, your adaptability and resiliency, and the fact that when you want something, like you turned from someone that did not even socialize to someone that had to socialize and got a
Yeah.
scholarship. It's like that's life changing, life turning, and that's amazing. So now you know what
Yep.
you're capable of. Now you know that whenever you want something, you put your mind to it, you can achieve it.
Absolutely.
And you tapped into two completely different industries. So that's amazing. And the fact that you're happy too,
Yeah.
that doesn't always happen.
Hmm. And so sorry to interrupt you. It was, I'm not going to say, my first year working at my current company, I was happy. I was actually kind of going through a lot that year, to be honest, just like realizing like I might not do what I love to do for a while, but I know this is something I have to do for now. And it is an industry that interests me. So, because going from, I would tell everybody, I'm going to be a fashion designer. I'm going to, walk the red carpet. It's okay if like nobody understands my dreams, because you get that rejection,
Hmm.
or like your relatives trying to protect you and just say like, oh, it's okay. It might not work out,
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but I was like, no, I'm going to make it happen. So, but
Good
yeah,
for
I'm really
you.
happy.
Good for you. But that's a good point because sometimes when
Mhm.
family does love you and love us, right? And sometimes they
Mhm.
think it's in our best interest to say these things and like,
Mhm.
keep us protected and that's their way. But sometimes we kind of have to go against that because we have to follow our
Yeah.
hearts, right? So good for
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
And
Thanks.
what I want to talk about, you have an online shop. Let's talk about your mercado.
Yes. Okay. So mi mercadito.
Yes, please talk about it.
Absolutely. So one of the things I learned, again, in 2020, when I decided to just be like, is there more besides, just having a 9 to 5 and, retiring at 70? Like, what else is there? And I remember coming across a book, The Cash Flow Quadrant, and just kind of reading like the 4 ways to make money in the world. So there's the employee quadrant, the small business owner, big business owner, and investor. But basically, what I got out of that was like, you need to have multiple income streams pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
Because if 2020 taught us anything, is that,
100%.
jobs are not secure. They're great, they're awesome, but, they're not secure. And the interesting thing is that, when in this book, when he's talking about the author, Robert Kiyosaki, when he's talking about being in that employee quadrant, he says that people that are there, which is the majority of the world, because our education system is set for us to be employees,
Right.
and so that's what we're taught. We're taught get good grades, get a good job. So the majority of the world is in that quadrant, and what people are looking for is security,
Hmm.
which is, like I said, interesting because jobs are not secure, and so and working, at the company I work for, I see that all the time. There's some of our clients right now who had planned to retire within the next couple of years. Their company just shut down, so they're forced to retire now,
That's horrible.
and so that changes their plans. And
Yeah.
so when just thinking about having multiple income streams, I saw that happen. My professors, when I was in fashion school, they had multiple gigs happening at the same time, in their teaching job and other things, and so they
Mhm.
always kept themselves occupied. But I was thinking of like, what if I have something that basically doesn't require a lot of me, that's an essential pretty much, and that I don't have to, like
Manage too
and a
much.
lot of work. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. For
Mm-hmm.
people to, basically use my services. So, I ended up meeting she's one of my best friends now, Hannah, and basically she was like, "This is what I'm doing." Basically she had contracts with different brands, within, the beauty industry, health and wellness, sports
Mm-hmm.
nutrition, all things like that. And she's like, it's, consumables and commodities, so it's what people are using every single day. It's your shampoo, your deodorant, again, like things that we don't have to sell to people because everybody needs deodorant,
Yeah,
everybody needs
right.
shampoo, things like that,
Essentials. Yep.
toothpaste,
Mm-hmm.
essentials. And so it's like my little tiendita online, and
Yeah.
it's really cool because I love my customers. We did customer appreciation day last Friday, and I was like sending messages and calling people,
It's
and
amazing.
it's just really awesome. Yeah, I get to visit my customers, be part of their lives. A lot of them are Latina women, and so I remember someone said at the end of your call that we did earlier this year, Latina women have the biggest hearts. And I just really love that I have all these like aunties everywhere. I get to go to their houses and they give me food. I bring them their products.
And that is
The
totally our culture, isn't
chicano.
it? Totally our
Yeah,
culture.
exactly. It's so
Right.
unique and I love it. We're full
Yeah.
of love and we just love to give, to be honest.
100%. I'm glad you said that. You see the difference, like, well, you know the difference. And that's what we're trying to, I guess, educate as well. Like this podcast, Latina Leaders Podcast is bilingual, so Spanish and English. So anytime you want to speak Spanish, you can go ahead. But the reason for that is because I want everyone to understand and to kind of understand us as Latinas, Hispanic women.
I love that. Yes, absolutely. And le dije a mi abuelito que iba a estar en un podcast y me dijo que le enviara la entrevista. So I'm trying to, meter ahí bastantes
Oh,
palabras para
yeah.
que él pueda,
Por
la
supuesto,
pueda
los
escuchar.
abuelitos, qué lindo.
Yes.
No, and that's so true. Like we're talking about our grandparents, our grandfather, abuelito. So you're lucky to still have yours around.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Jennifer.
but that's
Uh,
okay. You know, that's life. And
Siempre
the thing,
siguen en nuestros corazones, los abuelitos.
yes.
Y te entiendo bastante because in 2020, I lost my grandma.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like one of the realizations, she inspired me so much in life, and I mean, I wanted to be a designer because of her.
Mm-hmm.
And when she passed, it was like she passed with all of these unaccomplished dreams that she had. And I was like, what can I do different to be able to honor her?
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel too. And I'm so glad that you brought that up because we are an extension of them, right? And they did what they did for us, and we just have to keep living for them to make them proud,
Yeah,
and I believe they're always
and
with
you
us.
are.
Thank you. But no, and so can you just tell us before I forget to ask you, where is this online shop? What's the website?
Yeah, so it's Crero. It's a longer link, but I can send it to you. So it's Crero, and the contracts I have with are with Artistry, Neutralite. We work with G&H. So these are brands that I know also exist in Canada. So
Mm-hmm.
I can send you my website, but my brand name is Crero, and it actually stands for both of my grandma's names. So Cristina y Rosa, and put
Uh-huh.
them both together.
Oh,
And
yeah, that's
yeah,
nice.
that's the name
Great.
of my store.
That's amazing. That is so amazing. So I love that. And you're full of
Yeah.
surprises because that's one thing that you never told me. And so I'm just like, oh my God, like this is amazing because you're also all about your faith too. That's something that's strong within you, right?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. You need to, when I get around, successful people, it's all about faith, hope. And it's something that our world is kind of losing, I feel like. And I'm just really excited that I get to talk about hope to people, and bring that hope. And so
Yeah.
it's not easy, to be honest, to be able to stand on what you believe at times because we're humans, we go through stuff,
Mhm.
but I do truly believe that that hope is something that we need to spread more in today's
Amazing. Yeah,
age.
no, I totally agree. And everything that you're doing is just from what we've talked about, especially that first meeting that we had, Latina leaders had, the online meeting is when I met you for the first time. We all met you for the first time, and you stood out right away
Aw,
because you put up your hands and you just spoke so eloquently. And I
aw.
was like, I was taken aback. I'm like, who is this girl? Like, I need to talk to her after the online meeting. We need to
Yes.
talk, right? And so that is the reason why already have a light. I want you to know you already have a light around you, and I picked that up right away. So,
Thank you so much. I'm part of a leadership group and we send each other audios and my like voicemails pretty much. And that day after your call, I was like in tears and, talking to
oh,
the team and just being like, I just hopped off the best call ever. And again, going back to faith and hope and, I've had health challenges here and there. I'm doing really good now, but I had the opportunity to work with a health coach last year, and he said, if you have purpose, a lot of times that helps overcome a lot of health challenges. And it's so true. And, one of the biggest things for me is, again, empowering my Latino community, which is what you're doing. And so when I hear stories like yours or I'm part of calls like yours, I am so inspired beyond measure. Like you have no idea. So I was electrified. I was like on cloud nine on that call. So thank you again for putting that together and for just being an awesome person and doing everything that you're
oh,
doing to
well,
empower our community.
you're so sweet, and you're doing the same. So that's why we're here
That's why
together.
we're
We
here. Yeah.
connected. We have a purpose together. So thank you for that.
Mhm.
¿Hay algo quieres decir a tu abuelito?
Abuelito, que lo quiero mucho y gracias por siempre haber estado ahí para mi hermano y para mí desde chiquitos, aunque al principio quizás no entendía su motivo de exigir excelencia de nosotros. Now I do, ahora sí ya entiendo y le agradezco mucho por todo lo que hace por toda su familia y por todos los valores que nos inculcó desde pequeños.
Ay, qué lindo. Eso es muy lindo, hablar a los abuelitos que todavía están aquí, ¿no? So, your grandfather, your grandparents, it's always nice to acknowledge them and their hard work. So, para el abuelito, muchas gracias. Tiene muy bonita nieta.
Ay, gracias.
Okay. So Jency, I just want to talk real quick about maybe some advice that you would give to other Latinas, maybe close to your age, because you did a lot. You traveled across the country. You went out. You kind of went against your original, the way you were, right? You were more reserved, I would say, and then you had to quickly change. So, what would you say to another Latina or Hispanic woman? Maybe they're in the same position as you were, that were more quiet on the quieter side.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for asking me that question. One of the things I remember reaching out to one of my mentors once and just being like, I'm not a numbers person. Like, how am I supposed to learn all this? And she was like, Jency, it's not about your personality. Don't use your personality as an excuse. And I took that to heart and I was like, she's right. I'm over just making all, my personality, my obstacle. And if you really want something, love overcomes fear. So if you really love to do blank, whatever, that is, that's going to help you overcome whatever fear you have, whether it's talking to people, whether it's learning numbers or sitting down, figure out what future you want. A lot of times we get caught up in the present so much, which is great. Like I'm learning to be in the moment because I'm always like on the go. So I'm learning to be in the moment and appreciate what you have. But if there's something in your heart that you really, really want to do, whether it's starting a business, whether it's getting a new job, changing careers, whatever it is, there are so many resources out there. You just have to sit down, figure out what you really want, design your life. I'm a lover for that phrase because I love designing clothes. When I found out that I could design my life and I didn't have to, just live in that box of get good grades, get a good job, and buy a nice home, buy a nice car, and that's it. You can do more, and that's available to you, but you have to figure out, what's stopping you from getting there, what you need to do. And again, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. So if your circle right now is full of people, like I said earlier, I've had people be negative in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But if I always listen to them or say like, Jency, that's not you, because I've heard that before. And sometimes it's from people that you love. But for me, it was like, well, I don't want to be that person anymore. And I chose to listen to people that were willing to help me and speak life into me, or say, like, just like my mentor said, don't use your personality as an excuse. You can absolutely do it. And man, that journey is so beautiful because that journey of becoming your best version, it's so beautiful because, look, just like you were saying, Jennifer, it doesn't become just about you. It's, when people see you grow and change and evolve into the version that you were always meant to be, because I believe that everyone's created with a purpose.
Right.
You inspire so many people that it's so crazy. I have friends reaching out to me, strangers reaching out to me, and just saying like, you said this, or you did this, or I've seen you grow, because I wasn't always like this, right? Like, I've had my moments, where my life has been chaotic, and when that started to change, people start to see. And I am so blessed to be where I am right now. I know it's just the beginning, but I get now, because of all the what I'm learning, and all these things, I get to help other people be a resource. And that is where my blessing comes from, because again, like, I can be a resource not just to my Latino community, but it's expanding now. And I think that's the beautiful thing about Canada and the US. Like, we have all these cultures, and we get to learn from each other. And so now it's, it's not just about me, a girl who came from El Salvador. Now I'm talking to you, and your podcast is in Canada,
Yeah.
and it's so crazy. I never imagined this growing up, but I would never be here if I had never clicked, on that invite for the, to be part of your call. And so take calculated risks, right? I see that a lot in our Latino communities. We're scared, and I get it. I come from El Salvador. My parents freak out every time because
Yeah.
that
I understand you very well when you say that.
Yeah. They're like, "Hi, Jency, esto y lo otro. Hi, Jency," and I'm just like, I'm okay. I'm protected. I'm smart. I come from El Salvador, and so obviously, like, take precaution, be careful, but take risks too, and learn from your failures. It's okay to fail. It's actually really good to fail. It's proof that you're doing something out of your comfort zone. And and I heard this quote, I'm just going to finish up with this. I heard that winners are just people that continued failing over and over and over and over until they got a win. And they didn't stop there. They continued getting more failures, and they had an occasional win. But the wins are all we hear about, versus someone that failed once and gave up.
Right.
So,
100%. No, you're right. So we should not be afraid to fail. That's the only way to learn. It's a learning process, right? You get stronger each time, you pick yourself back up, and that's how you learn about yourself too, what you can actually do. So thank you for all of that advice. I think that's really, really great advice. And I'm so glad you clicked on the meeting, the Latina Leaders meeting, and I'm so glad we met. And I really hope that one day we can meet each other in person.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
If you ever come to Ontario, Canada, or if I go to Pennsylvania, I will give you a call.
Oh, yes, please do. Please do. I can't wait to meet you, Jennifer, and be part of your in-person events. It's going to happen.
Oh, thank you so much. And before you go, Jency, where can people find you
Yep.
online?
So they can find me through I'm very active on Instagram. So it's mjency, MJENCY. And I have all my stuff on there. And I guess LinkedIn also, it's just Jency Martinez. That's the best way to find me.
Okay, thank you so much. I want to invite everyone to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you like the content that you're hearing or seeing, click the subscribe button and follow us for more inspiring stories. Thank you so much, Jency Martinez, for joining the Latina
Absolutely.
Leaders Podcast.
Thank you, Jennifer.